Go ahead.
Hey, horror fans, it's me, Kylie, and
Cass.
And today we have the amazing Elizabeth Vermilyea, who stars in Hell House LLC, Lake of Fire, the up-and-coming new Hell House film, Hell House LLC, Lineage, and 825 Forest Road.
Yes. Your character in Lake of Fire, she is a very non-traditional character. And that's what we were talking about. Because Hell House is kind of a non-traditional franchise. And even though your character is the technical final girl, she's not the final girl ever in that film, which I think is kind of brilliant. So we definitely want to talk about her. Definitely want to talk about her coming back for Lineage. And obviously you playing Maria in 825 Forest Road. I think that doesn't get enough love, and your performance absolutely like terrifying at some point, which is a compliment in our realm. But if you haven't listened up to this point, we do have other entries. And this month we are sending off Hell House, with Hell House Lineage being what supposedly is the last film, could not be, but we are giving it the proper love by talking about each of the films. We are going to specifically talk about Lake of Fire in this one, but we're going to kind of talk about some other components as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So let me go ahead and cue our intro. So let's cue the music.
Welcome to the Horror Prep Podcast.
All right, we are back. So thank you once again, Tiki, for our incredible intro. So Elizabeth, do you like scary movies?
I do. I love scary movies.
So what is your favorite scary movie? It could be as of right now, it could be one that you've recently seen, or all-time favorite.
This isn't one that I say very often when I'm asked this question, because I'm not sure if technically it's like in the right genre for it. But since I saw it in your intro video, I'm going to go ahead and say The Craft.
The Craft, yeah.
Yes.
I watched it at a very like formative age, and I just thought it was the coolest, and I wanted to be a teen witch really, really bad. And I still love it. I watch it every Halloween. So I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah, that's definitely a scary movie. And I think it definitely inspired a lot of us to, secretly want to hex our exes, or, light as a feather, stiff as a board.
It was like the stamp of approval of feminine rage.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and being a little weird, not quite fitting in, being okay, and having your own group and everything. And
yeah. I absolutely love that. So that definitely explains a lot about your performance then.
Yes.
Definitely informative in there. So we're actually, to start off, we normally ask some icebreakers, but we decided this time we're going to make it a little fun and ask some Hell House related questions of would you rather. So first question is, would you rather discover that the script you're filming is actually a true story, or find out halfway through filming that the set is and no one told you?
That the set is what?
The set is genuinely haunted and no one told you.
I don't believe in ghosts, so I don't think that one would freak me out. I think I would find it kind of more funny. Finding out it was a true story, I think, would freak me out a little bit more, maybe. I might feel like, ooh, I should have done research. Like Bad Actor, I did not prep enough for this.
Yeah, especially if you find out it's like a true crime and you only find out like
Yeah.
halfway through, that
Yeah.
might be a little bit jarring.
Yeah. I think that would be a little rough.
Yeah. So the next question is, would you rather be stuck in a found footage horror film forever, or be cursed to only appear in background shots of every horror movie, never a lead role ever again?
I'm gonna go background shots. I think that would be really fun to be in like the great horror movies, just like kind of walking through in the background with like Ghostface, and I'm just like at the party or something in the back somewhere.
Yeah.
I think that would be
Yeah.
That would be fun. So
It would.
you could watch Randy give the speech about, the horror rules, and you could be there like taking notes.
That'd be amazing.
Those rules are important.
They are. Would you rather have to do a press junket in character as someone possessed by the Abaddon spirits, or be the next face of a creepy viral horror marketing stunt that involves real people thinking you're stalking them?
First one for sure.
Okay.
Yes, that would actually be kind of fun. It would make it a little bit more like interesting and weird.
Yeah, that would, because like nobody's expecting that either. You would just like halfway through the interview.
Yeah, I don't want to creep out real people and actually stalk them.
No. So the last one is, would you rather have dinner with the ghost crew of the Abaddon Hotel, or let the clown mannequin be your roommate for a month?
Oh, I definitely rather have dinner with the Abaddon. Yeah. I've been in close quarters with that clown mannequin, and I would not want to do that I wouldn't sleep for a month.
I would not. I don't know how people at the clown motel do it, with all the clowns that are there. Shout out to anyone who stayed there. I couldn't sleep at all.
No.
Listen, I never had a fear really of clowns. And like I grew up watching like It and Pennywise, that was pretty terrifying as a kid, but I did not have a fear of clowns, so I watched Hell House.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy though is anybody who hasn't seen 825 Forest Road, I will say the mannequin in that freaked me out more than the clown. And you know what it is because when the mannequin in the Hell House, his movements are like kind of like, now you see me, now you don't. The one with the mannequin in 825, your scene particularly where she's moving her hand behind her, that to me unlocked like a new fear of like, I just never knew that was like a thing, because like you're just very earnestly like, oh, I'm just doing and she's like moving behind you and you have no idea. And it's just, it unlocked a very new fear for me. So I'm like, mannequins are just, no.
Yeah, that one's real creepy. And I also, obviously, I'm in the foreground in that, so I knew it was happening, but like watching it when the movie came out was like, oh, that's really creepy. Oh my God.
Yeah, because I think what's scarier about that one is it's your, like, not to give a part of the movie away, but that's your mannequin. So it's something taking over your mannequin. So it's something that you've had in your possession for a period of time. We find that out in the story. So like, you're not expecting your mannequin to all of a sudden be possessed, where Hell House, like the clown comes with Hell House. So like you kind of have to expect a little bit that there's going to be something weird when a clown mannequin's just like chilling in a basement with that.
Something
I feel like
it's like safe, and it's like a teddy bear or something. It's like, I've had this forever, and now suddenly it's possessed is scarier, I think.
You never think your Teddy Ruxpin bear is going to come after you until it does.
Until it does.
Or like when the kids' toys are like out of batteries and like it comes on, that would really freak me out. The light bulb
in that movie freaked me out when she knows that she took the light bulb out
Yeah.
and the light bulb and it comes back. I was like, immediately in my mind, I would burn the whole house down. Like I would just nope, we're all leaving. Like I took that because the fact is you took something out of there. So like
yeah.
So
it can't be a trick of your mind. It's like impossible.
yeah. So listen, Steve Cognetti, you're a genius when it comes to like, because little things like that shouldn't freak us out, but they do. So you're a mastermind.
He does a really great job at taking just simple things and making them absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, it's like he knows the stuff that's hidden in your psyche that like will freak you out the most or something. And
yeah.
Yeah, I know. So so those are icebreakers. I would definitely love to see in the comments, fellow Hell House fans, what you would prefer. I'm scared for some of your answers because I know how hard you guys go, especially for the clown. So but let us know.
I don't want him as a roommate for a month.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. Well, and he's not paying rent either. So it's like that's kind of like a double
paying
thing.
Rent, like you gotta go.
So thank you for doing our Would You Rather. So we're going to go ahead and move into talking about your performance. So obviously, as we talked about in the beginning, we are going to discuss Hell House 3, which is Lake of Fire. It kind of wrap up the trilogy. You play Vanessa Shepard, who is the new host of this kind of almost action news kind of like segment, and you are very apprehensive to begin with about going and doing this, and you kind of come in with some trepidation, and your fears are kind of founded throughout the whole entire thing. You come in very refreshing and just kind of stick to your guns a lot of it. So what drew you to the role of Vanessa?
I thought she was really interesting. I thought she's kind of taking over this new show, and she is like, I think she's really excited to get this interview with Russell Wynn, who's, this multimillionaire. He's really famous. If it's in this world, it would be like Jeff Bezos or something, getting to do like a behind the scenes thing and follow him around, and knows like how good that could be for her career. Because in my mind, she was very ambitious and driven, and she's on this kind of like cheesy morning show, but wants to move further and kind of sees this as like her ticket. But also there's this whole history with the Abaddon Hotel, and she's aware that it has like this, history of murder happening inside of it. So it's kind of juggling that. And I just really liked her. I thought she was a likable character. She was it's funny because she's the lead, but I'm not like on camera all that much necessarily. I'm conducting the interviews. I'm kind of almost like if the audience members were in the movie, she kind of represents like trying to figure out what's going on and like this isn't making sense and stuff. It was really fun. I had a lot of fun playing that.
No, I think that's great because that's one of the things I do think with your character that is refreshing, especially as a woman in horror. Mm-hmm. Your character the whole entire time, you kind of stick to your guns throughout this whole thing. It's not the whole like, oh, let's go investigate that noise kind of persona. You know what I mean? Like you're very like, there has been some things that have happened. I am already very trepidatious about going in and doing this. I am sticking to my guns about it. And you never really like waver in that. And I think that's what kind of holds on to the character and why it makes it so important to the story. Because like you said, you don't really have a lot of screen time, but you're kind of the voice of reason in this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also liked that she had kind of one of the most, whenever you're watching a movie like this, I feel like the thing that we're all thinking is like, why aren't you leaving right now?
Yes.
Like, it's getting scarier and scarier. Like, why are you staying there? And I thought her reason for staying of like, I can't go to my bosses and say I saw a ghost and like, I'm going to get fired and humiliated. I'm like, that's going to be the rumors about me. And I thought that was really smart and rang true that like for women in professional fields, like you can't be hysterical, you know?
Yes.
So I really liked that aspect of it, and that like really made sense and like grounded that for me of like, why is she still staying there?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely could see that.
Mm.
Yeah, I definitely think like even Vanessa's personality just kind of brought something different than like the two previous films, because you had like a lot of personalities, like, you know, Alex, and I think even in like the Abaddon Hotel, like Jessica Fox, just like not really caring or listening to the outside noise of like how dangerous this place was. You went in very aware of it, but like knew that there was something there, and that all, you know, this mystery behind it, the disappearances, you know, what happened to the Hell House crew, you were still like, it almost seemed like the underlying layer was like determined to find out like what happened to them as well.
Mm.
Yeah, you're kind of the voice of reason, which I think is the great part of it, because you never let Russell off the hook. There are a lot of people around him that are enabling him, and you bring that up, and that's brought up throughout the movie. Like this, the same thing with the first Hell House. You're one of the very few people that don't, though. You kind of are like, I'm not letting you, even to the point where in this, listen, I'm gonna spoil some things at this point. So if you haven't seen Lake of Fire, go watch it on AMC Plus. It's great. But like the part where you go after Russell, after, you know, when they're there for the drinks, and then you go to the priest, and you're the one that ends up breaking the story about like, this is what's going on, this is what he's doing. You never really let him get away with, this is going to go down easy. And I almost think his character expects you not to. That's why he kind of wants you there.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of the balance of reason. But it's very interesting to see that, because we don't see that a lot of times with women. We in friend groups and different things like that, especially in horror, it's a lot of like co-enabling. And it's like, oh yeah, you know, we're all together. We can go investigate that scary noise, or, you know, that doll that moved. It's fine. We're all together. And your character's like, yeah, I want no part of it. I don't like this. I know what I saw, but I'm staying here because I have a job to do, and I'll be damned if I have anybody say that I am unprofessional, that I am not doing this. And but you're like, I am not. I'm very clear that there's things happening here. Like, I'm not an idiot.
Yeah. And I think, hopefully without spoiling anything, that is kind of that dynamic, and how she felt about Russell and trying to call him out and trying to stop that night from happening, comes into Lineage, of feeling like after that has all happened, like, did I try hard enough? Could I have done more? And that's what she's struggling with now.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Do
Well,
you?
especially just because, I mean, it was a crazy. I mean, it's just the third film, something happened that never happened before. Like, you were a final girl. You're the only like final girl or guy within the franchise. And finally, you know, Russell closed the Lake of Fire. He closed the portal. And you died. Yes. And Russell brought you back. And that was just something, you know, I can't wait to see in Lineage, and just how much that, you know, affects Vanessa as a person, you know, because she's still there at Abaddon. And I think it will just be really interesting to see, because I think an experience, a near-death experience like that, and something in that realm, it's going to be very hard to process and move on from.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and actually, that's something I did want to ask you. I know Kylie has a question for you next, but I do want to interject a little bit. I think a lot of people don't realize with Hell House does a really good job of portraying trauma, and especially like timelines of trauma, because the effects from the first movie are felt in the third movie, and it's like you're racing against the clock because you know what happened in the first movie. But do you think, because obviously you just talked about it with your character going into Lineage, do you feel like it definitely has like a deeper kind of narrative to it about trauma when you're talking about Hell House and these movies, because obviously, you know, your character is one that made it out, but then in the new movie we're talking about wrapping up a couple different timelines together, and a lot of those are like generational trauma or like trauma kind of being passed on from one to another.
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of this movie. And I think because it's not found footage on this last one, it can go or does go even deeper into that and the emotional and psychological impact of that and everything. Because when it's found footage, it's hard to make it realistic that they're having private conversations about their feelings and stuff on camera with, you know, knowing that they're being filmed. So it does go deeper into that and deeper, you know, along with the trauma that you see in the Carmichael Manor and how that carries out through the years from one generation to the next. Definitely.
I love that.
Yes. Were you a fan of the Hell House series before you were casted as Vanessa?
I had not heard of them. So I just applied for a horror movie on Backstage, and when I got the call back is when I watched the first two movies, which I think were on Amazon at that time, and I loved them. It was super, super scary. So I had to take breaks while I was watching it because I was getting like too scared. But I thought it was so good and so smart and well done. And yeah, just the chemistry of all the actors and everything was great. So I was really excited after watching those to like potentially be part of these movies and this franchise. So yeah, it worked out really well.
Yeah, that was my next question. Like, what was like the, you know, the vibe of working on set, you know, like with Joe and Steven and just kind of like the original cast members and things like that. And actually like in that, you know, the Abaddon Hotel or the Waldorf Estate.
Yeah, it was great. It was so fun stepping into it. And with these people who had worked together 2 times before, they were so nice and welcoming. And the Abaddon Hotel, which is actually the Waldorf Estate of Fear, is such a cool place. It's like a labyrinth of hidden doorways and stuff. It's so fun. And for Lake of Fire, the original cast came back for some cameo scenes. So I got to meet them. And some of the cast members from the second movie, the Abaddon, came. So it was really awesome getting to meet all these people from the movies I had just watched.
That's awesome. I love that.
I love that. That's definitely something I don't think people highlight enough. You know, this isn't a set that was built specifically for the movie. This is a pre-existing structure. This is an actual, like, people come and stay at the Waldorf, which we all know as the Abaddon. Did you think that was kind of interesting, an interesting choice of theirs to use a pre-existing, what people would consider like a haunt location?
I thought it was so smart. I mean, especially the first one, they were making it on a really small budget and they needed to make a haunted house attraction. So like, why not go to a place that's already a haunted house attraction? So yeah, it's such a cool place. And I think they'll do like a Hell House haunted thing every year. So it's like become part of like what they do there. Yeah, it's really cool. If anyone's in Lehighton, Pennsylvania, you should check it out.
That sounds great for somebody like Kylee. For me, I might pass because I don't do well with haunted locations,
Okay.
and I would just be looking.
Actually haunted too, from what they say. So
yeah, I've seen that. So
we're going.
I know she's gonna
planned this out. Like it's gonna happen. Hopefully, like maybe next year. I probably won't go in the basement though. I probably won't.
You got it. The clowns are there. It's so fun. It's like really small. It's like a really low ceiling in the basement too. So you're crouching down in there with the clowns. It's fun.
Oh yeah, no basement, Kylee. I could do a lot, but no basement. How do you think Lake of Fire stands apart from earlier films in the series? Because obviously this does have a very different tone, even especially with kind of tying Faust into it.
Yeah, which is cool. So I think the first movie was obviously really different. It's like I don't think it gives a hint that it's going to be a trilogy. It's kind of a smaller story about these particular people that went missing or it came to a bad end in this hotel. And then the second one kind of expands the lore a little bit more. And then by the third one, it's really it closes that trilogy off really nicely. I think it ties everything together. It's a little bit bigger, especially the end, with the gate of hell opening and everything. So yeah, it ties them together in an interesting way, and especially if you're into like Easter eggs and little hints of stuff that happened earlier, that all come to fruition in the third one. I think people that are into that really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's one of, I think, probably my favorite things about the franchise. When I go back and rewatch all of them, I always see stuff that I didn't see the last time.
Yeah.
Every time. Mm-hmm. And you pick up on certain things, especially, I'm kind of going into the second film. They talk about how Jessica Fox gets these documents from Patrick Carmichael, and we didn't know who Patrick Carmichael was until, the fourth movie.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's really unique how things were just set up in the way that they were. And then when you watch them and you go back like, oh, that was from this, that's why this. And yeah, I just love it.
Yeah, I don't know if Steven has like one of those big serial killer boards or something in like a room somewhere where he ties all the stuff together with yarn, but it's really amazing, like the amount of different callbacks and like different characters that are tied together that he's able to do. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think he does a fantastic job when taking the found footage genre, but he has all these different layers. Like you have a true crime layer, you have a paranormal layer, you have like just mental health layer, just different types of personalities that I think are really drawn into, the Abaddon Hotel and Andrew Tully and stuff like that. And it's just more than just another found footage film. Like the story's just very elaborate and the lore. And I don't think you see that a whole lot within the found footage franchise.
No, it does set it apart, definitely. I think it's usually not as involved. And I think that's part of the reason why making it narrative for the last film kind of makes sense for it.
Yeah, I think so as well. I know a lot of people really aren't happy with it not being found footage, but I just don't think it would make sense for Lineage. Granted, I have not seen it yet, but I don't think it would make sense for it.
Yeah, I think it makes sense once you see the movie. And I know there's people that just like love found footage. And so they're upset that it's straying away from that. But I think hopefully they'll see that it works for this anyways. And you can still enjoy the first 4 movies, even if you don't enjoy the last one being narrative.
Yeah, no,
exactly.
Listen, Kylie's been doing the Lord's work by going into the comment sections and saying, listen, we got to give this a chance.
Yeah, it's going to be okay. We're all going to be okay either way. It'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big found footage fan. So, it's just, I think this goes for people making films or music. You're allowed to, and actors as well, you're allowed to expand and do different things with your art.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it does make sense when you're tying up a whole 4 films of legacy and you're building up, like, because there's a lot of parts, and especially in 3, with me watching it, there were a lot of things that were brought up that I feel like are going to be brought up, like with the fair and that being on the grounds and everything like that. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of that you can't show from the found footage lens, because it's just like it kind of gets ridiculous at some point, because it's like, okay, it makes sense the way that he presented it 1 through 3, and then 4, doing it the way that he did it. but you can't just keep finding people aren't just tossing videotapes like confetti.
It gets a little silly at a certain point to expect everyone's taping different moments of their lives, and then it's just found by a documentary crew at some point later. So yeah, I mean, to be able to go into all those different areas, it really doesn't make sense as found footage.
No, it does not.
I mean, I'm sure Andrew Tully has like way more footage, there's just always tricks up his sleeve, but yeah, I just think it's just not it's not what I would, I think, want for what Lineage is going to be and just how it's going to be tying things in together. It's just not going to make sense for it. And I think just for me, we kind of want a conclusion. I mean, of course, I'd love another film, but I think there's been just a lot of big questions that have went unanswered, and I think there's going to be a lot of questions answered in this. And I don't think found footage could do that.
Yeah, I agree totally. And I think hopefully it does answer a lot of those questions in this one.
Yeah, most definitely. So were there any practical effects or stunts that really surprised you? Because this is kind of like a very grassroots, like, even though it does get as much love that it does, like, Hell House wasn't a success overnight. It is one that has a very cult following. So this is very like a grassroots effort, and they take a lot of painstaking time into doing a lot of these effects and different things. Were there some that surprised you, or some that you were like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a practical effect?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything that was a surprise, I guess. I mean, this was the first found footage movie that I ever did. Actually, only found footage, I think, except for that little bit in 825, I guess. Yeah, so it was just a really interesting filming process because you don't have to do a bunch of different angles for, a close-up shot and, a two-shot and all that sort of stuff. It goes really, really quickly. I think my favorite part was, if you remember at the end, there's the camera gets thrown onto the Lazy Susan, like the mechanical Lazy Susan, and having it go around, and then I have to jump down, and then I come back up when it comes around again. That one was really fun to film towards the end there.
Yeah.
And that was all the blood scenes and everything, so that was cool too.
Yeah.
That was a bloody scene.
Yes.
it was. I think there was definitely kind of some gorier parts throughout the franchise, but I think that was probably the most out of the whole franchise as a whole.
Yeah, they had a special blood guy who came in from the city, I think, that day, because he was like an expert in like blood squirting out of your neck or coming out of a hole that someone just cut into your stomach and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that sounds the worst part about that though is it's like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's a fun job to have.
Yeah. Only a horror fan would be like, that's pretty legit.
Yeah.
So Kylee, do you want to?
Yeah. How did you prepare emotionally and like the psychological depth of Vanessa Shepard?
Well, I read through the script a whole bunch of times, and I always write down lots of notes, and anything that I have like a question about that I'm not sure about in the script, I spend extra time on that and doing backstory and all that sort of stuff. She doesn't come into it with a whole lot of like emotional baggage or trauma or anything. It's just kind of what's happening as she goes there. And we filmed it mostly in sequential order. So that kind of happened naturally in the progression of the scenes and things getting scarier. So it was nice that kind of happened naturally as she gets more and more worried and upset the longer that she's there.
Yeah, I could totally understand that. So kind of piggybacking off of that though, so briefly swerving into 825 Forest Road, sorry. I get it confused with the 15 Rose Lane that was in them. Yeah. And when you kind of find all of that out. So that is obviously a different tone of a film. And one of the things that it kind of sticks out really for me, obviously, because I just watched it, is how much it talks about mental health and the layering that goes into it. It is very smart in the way that it doesn't come out and talk about mental health necessarily like you would see in Smile, but it is the core backbone to the movie because it is people's psychological kind of damage and psychological state that this entity preys upon and kind of exploits. And even the movie is styled differently where it's in different chapters, and we get to your chapter more towards the end, and it kind of wraps everything up. How is going from doing a movie like Hell House with Steven to then doing a movie like 825 Forest Road, where it is just this subtle kind of conversation about mental health and the things that we bring along with us?
Yeah, it's pretty different. Partially because it was a narrative film as opposed to found footage. So there was, I feel like there was just more to get into. The characters were able to be more flushed out. And that one I did do a lot more prep and kind of research because Maria does have bipolar disorder. And so I wanted to know as much as possible about that and, how I wanted to portray that and everything on screen. So yeah, that one was more prep work and more kind of getting into the psychology and that of everything before we even started shooting or anything. And luckily, I mean, Steven writes so well, like a lot of behavior and stuff about Maria's character, I felt like was in the script already to build upon. So that definitely made it easier for me to try to create a character out of that. But yeah, definitely a little bit more prep and psychologically getting into a different headspace.
Yeah, most definitely, because it is kind of more nuanced because we're seeing you through different lenses. So in the beginning, we're seeing you through the lens of your husband. Through the middle, we're seeing you through the lens of your sister-in-law, and then we're seeing your actual lens, and then all of them converge together. And then again, spoiler alert, if you want to watch it, go, it's on AMC Plus. We'll put everything in the description down below. Don't wait like I did, because I waited and I deeply regret waiting. I should have watched it in the beginning, like Kylie said, because it's a fantastic.
I told you.
Yeah, it's a fantastic film, but you even go into the perspective of taking on the entity. So you actually have a very incredible monologue that turns into what I would just say sheer fucking chaos towards the end, where you literally unleash. What do you feel like was your favorite perspective of doing that? Because you do take on it's almost like you're 4 different characters in that movie.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a nice progression because I mean, when the movie starts, she has bipolar, but she is on meds and she's been managing it for a long time and also with talk therapy and everything. And she's they had a traumatic thing happen to them, so she's stressed out. They're not living like a perfect life, but she's doing well and she has a good career and everything. And then they move to 825 Forest Road, and then suddenly everything starts to kind of deteriorate and starts to prey on her. I mean, the ghost likes to prey on people who have mental health issues or are going through grief or, trauma of some kind. So it starts to prey on her, and then she's dealing with her husband who really doesn't understand what she's going through and is not for mental health discussions and stuff like that. So I think it brings up a lot of interesting issues with that. I think the last scene's the most fun. That was really fun.
Oh, that was unhinged. I was like, I would be living for it because you almost have sympathy for her too, because when she's talking about it, and you know, it's almost like the whole like Scarlet Witch of it all, where it's like, I tried to be reasonable, I tried to be the good person, and you made me not be this. It doesn't mitigate.
It's the feminine rage mama bear that comes out.
Yeah. I really liked that moment too, because she's this really creepy, evil presence through the whole thing. And then from her being inside Maria or whatever, I guess, you get to see it from her point of view, and that the whole thing really just comes from a mother's grief and not being able to save her child. And it's just a really human moment, because who wouldn't, you know, feel something for that, you know, and makes it much more understandable.
Yeah, I will also say the thing that stood out to me the most about your character in this movie, and what I love about it, and I think you did just an incredible job, and like, shout out to you for the character, and shout out to you know, Steve for doing what he does, but just the pushback that you give, because that is one of the core foundations of this, is you're going back and forth with your own husband, like, where he's like, I just don't think therapy works, and you're like, okay, well, you're allowed to think that way, but it's working for me. And this is where I feel like we don't see a lot of human moments like that, where when mental health is discussed, we don't see the push and pull of the other sides of things, where you could seem like you have this supportive, you know, husband, and he is supportive, but he's not fully supportive. He's not supportive enough to go outside of his own beliefs. And I think that's just a very like honest and raw, you know, raw moment. And especially then when you open up to your sister-in-law and you're talking about everything, I just think those are conversations that you don't expect to see in a horror movie, and the way that they're kind of placed and then things are done around it with the entity, I think is just genius.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that it's something that a lot of us, I mean, I deal with like anxiety and stuff like that. And it's always so annoying when someone else is like, okay, well, why don't you just calm down? And it's like, oh, okay, that's, I didn't know I could just do that. So, I think it's important to like showcase the different perspectives, and, you know, just to have grace. You don't really know what people are going through. So just like listen to them. Could also be a theme of that movie, if Chuck had listened to his character, you know, and not try to just push on and be like, I can fix this. This is fine. This is manageable.
Well, I think there's a lot of mainstream horror that's out now that they don't dive deep into some of these certain issues. And when you see it, because for me, like, watching horror movies is therapeutic. It always has been since I was a kid. So when I'm seeing these things in movies, it's like I can relate to that. And you have a lot of mainstream horror that is just kind of all about putting out a movie, making money, like the blood and the gore. But I really like seeing like the thought-provoking storylines that make you think of other things besides, you know, what a horror movie has to bring.
Yeah, because that's what horror is built upon. Like, not to cut you off, Elizabeth. But no, I agree. I feel like that kind of segues into what I'm going to ask next. But I do think that a lot of people forget that horror it's one of the very few genres that can be anything. You can have a happy ending, you can have a sad ending, you can have a bad ending, you can end it pretty much every single, you can have what you think is a happy ending, and then you get the Batman like Joker moment where it's like, but it was me all along, like kind of thing. And so like that ending is horrible in 825, but on the other side of that, it is kind of empowering, because then at the end of the day, Chuck did finally pick his sister, and he's going out, and we don't see like what's going to, but it ends abruptly, and we don't know what's going to happen from there. That's one of the last true medias that we can kind of do that, where we could just end like, okay, well, that's it. That's the ending. Like, I don't know what you guys expected. This wasn't the Care Bears.
Yeah. No, that is the cool thing about horror is how versatile it is, and like you can like I love a fun slasher movie. Those are great, but it's also cool to make. I mean, this is really it's a family drama kind of with horror elements in it as well. So yeah, and I also love the Chuck and his sister kind of becoming closer by the end of it, and like really reaching a place where they understand each other before everything goes to shit.
Yeah. It's like it took us to this very last moment to be okay, but I'm picking you. I'm going in the fire with you, even though I don't know what's going to happen. And
That's usually like, how it goes, though.
It does. And then poor Maria is just, she's gone. Like nobody realized it was, the ghost inside of her. So Maria's just gone. She took out the poor, daughter, the sister's friend that like got left behind along with the crew and everybody.
So, like, it was my favorite part though is when the ghost comes out of your character and you see Joe and his character scared to death. And
poor Joe.
Like you've been menacing everybody for years playing the main clown. It's time for you to be scared.
Yeah, a little payback.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Poor Joe. He was not expecting that. So, so leading into the question I was going to ask, if you wanted to do another role in horror or be a part of any big horror franchise that's out there, what would you want to do?
I think I would I think doing like a psychological thriller sort of thing would be really fun. Something Silence of the Lambs like. I really love that. I love that movie. So I am like obsessed with Mindhunter, Criminal Minds, all that sort of stuff. I find those shows like endlessly entertaining. So that would be really fun to do.
Yeah, kind of like Long Legs, like a Long Legs inspired.
I was just thinking, like, I think she would do really good as a detective, FBI in a movie. Yeah,
I would love to be like a grizzled detective that does a hard day's work and drinks a little bit too much, and then I have to go find a serial killer. That'd be so fun.
I would love that. I would love that because I feel like you would be perfect for that. And like Clarice Starling is like one of my personal heroes to begin with. Mm-hmm. She's just incredible. Like that whole movie is just like, you think that whole movie is about Hannibal Lecter. It's really more about her and like her, just like holding it all on her shoulders and like being the badass that she is. Mm-hmm. So I would love to see you as that type of character. So I'm going to ask this because I know Kylie is super excited and we're not going to talk a ton about it. But if you could preview anything going into Lineage, if you could talk like anything about it, what do you feel like is the thing that people are going to be the most surprised with Lineage when it comes to Lineage?
The most surprised. I don't know. Everyone knows, obviously, at this point, it's narrative. It's not found footage. I think there's like a lot of heart in this movie. I think it's about the traumas and everything that happened in the past, and how that's affecting everyone now, and particularly Vanessa after everything that happened at the Abaddon Hotel. And so it's really about people struggling, I think, with feelings of guilt and the generational trauma and everything. And then it's also super, super scary. So I don't mean to make it like sound like too much of a downer. It is like a good scary horror movie. But yeah, I think there's like a really nice through line of just like heart and human beings reaching out to each other, I guess, kind of. That didn't sound great. I should have.
No, I think that. I think that we understood exactly what you're saying. No, okay, I think that's great. It's like the horror, warming of the heart. It's like, oh, yay, like, oh, family trauma. We're all coming together. but then we all kind of are dying at the same time.
I guess it's about like the trying to put past wrongs right, the trying to make everything better, to like solve it, and like, are they able to do that or not? I guess that's what I was kind of trying to get at.
Yeah, most definitely. Kylie, do you have anything else that you want to add before we move on to our next segment?
This is a random question. What's your go-to like comfort thing to watch after filming something really scary?
I watch rom-coms when I'm filming something scary, just to like get it out of my system.
Yeah.
So I watched a bunch of Jane Austen movies while I was filming Lineage. I watched some 80s rom-coms. Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Oh yeah.
Some other stuff.
I have to say, Can't Buy Me Love's probably one of my favorite 80s rom-coms.
That one's great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Young Patrick Dempsey.
Some late 90s, early 2000s when I was a teenager that I really liked.
Yeah.
The throwback,
Yeah, you had me at Jane Austen, because like my a lot of my go-to when we need to refresh in between is the 2005 like Pride and Prejudice.
So
I don't know I don't know what it is. It's just like, it's one of those movies, it's like 2 hours and something, but you put it on in the background. It's just a nice, like, refreshing palate cleanser. So you're just like, your brain gets reset. And then you're like,
making a new one too. And I'm like, but they already did it perfectly. Why would you make another?
and they already made Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. So
yeah, they did all of it. It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, we already got all of it. I mean, obviously I'm a Jane Austen person, so I'll go and I'll see it. But at the same time, how can you beat Keira Knightley and, just Matthew McFadden?
Yeah, so
that's like a hard, like, You Bewitch Me Body and Soul. And the whole like in the mist when he's walking towards her, like the dawn, and I'm just like, there's a part of my soul that hasn't left the building since that scene happened. So I just don't see how they can do it. So we've already even done the horror version, like I said, Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. And the people that were in that were incredible too. So I think we just need to leave.
What if they do like Pride and Prejudice, like vampires? That's right up your alley.
But they didn't do that one. They did Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, because the person who wrote like a lot of the books that did that, they like had him in the, so it was like Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, and then Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. There's some like Victorian movies that I feel like, okay, are kind of like if Pride and Prejudice were vampires, but I felt like Zombies kind of made more sense too, because if you do watch it, I don't know like where it's streaming. If it's streaming, we'll put it down here, but it does kind of make sense, because like when they talk about quarantining and stuff like that with like the estates, that's kind of something that like the Victorian times they already did, like when it came to like diseases and different things like that. So it's like, zombieism, probably it could have happened, like, and anything could happen, but but I just don't. Mr. Darcy is a vampire. As much as I love vampires, Mr. Darcy just needs to stay Mr. Darcy. He just needs to stay that, he's fine. There are a lot of things that I can deal with vampires. That's not one of them. So
maybe one of the other books, like Sense and Sensibility and Vampires.
Yeah. You know what? Sense and Sensibility would be a great one, because like as vampires, I feel like, because that's more like the tragic, or like Wuthering Heights. If we're going into like Bronte, that could be a good vampire one.
That one's already really dark, so
yeah,
it makes more sense to push it horror.
Yes. So that's such a fun question though. Okay, so for everyone who's listening out there, any literature style like book, whether we're talking Bronte, we're talking Jane Austen, any of the great literatures, which one do you think, if it already doesn't have a vampire counterpart, tell us what it should be and put it down below, and we'll definitely we'll look at the comments, and if there's some really good suggestion ones, we'll talk about it on the next episode. So I think that's a great gauntlet. But that does slide us into our next part. Before we do that, though, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for coming on and talking with us. We're so excited to see you in Lineage. We know that it's just going to be amazing. Please, by the time that this episode is coming out, Lineage will be either still in theaters, hopefully, or it'll be on streaming platforms at that point in time. Please go show it some love. This is a series that just continues to give back to us, the horror fans, and deserves to get its moment in the sun. So please go out and support it, and go back and listen to the previous episodes of this series as we keep moving forward. So, and go watch 825 Forest Road on AMC Plus. Don't wait forever like me. I guarantee you it's amazing. I had to watch a filler movie last night after watching it because there were some things that were like living rent free in my head, and that's saying something. So we're talking about the same person that watches the Purge movies to go to sleep. Okay. So that's saying something. So it's absolutely terrifying. So please go watch them and the other Hell House movies, including Lake of Fire on AMC Plus. There are also on other streaming services. We'll put them all below. But we are going to go ahead and run into the next segment, which is what is our favorite thing in horror this week. Elizabeth, once we're done, if there's something that you would like to plug or something in horror that you find really amazing coming out around this time that we should know about, let us know as well. Kylie, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm just patiently waiting till Friday for the new episode of Dexter Resurrection. I am hooked. I am. Another thing I'm really excited about is they're filming School Spirits right now, which is a really fun show, and Jennifer Tilly is going to be in it.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm really excited about that. I am excited for Weapons to come out. Of course, going to see Lineage on the 20th. I'm very excited about that. Me and the hubby get to have a date night, no kids, which we don't get to do very often. So it's going to be fun. But that's all I got for my things in horror this week.
Yes. So Weapons is coming out this week. I am very excited to see how that's. I feel like there hasn't been a lot of promo with Lineage, which I appreciate because the things that they are showing are things that I feel like can be given away. Same thing with Weapons. I feel like there's a lot that they're not showing that I'm appreciating they're not showing. So I'm excited to see that. I would just encourage people. There are some really underrated movies that have kind of flown under the radar the last couple of months. Obviously, 825 Forest Road, I was just talking about. I did not get a chance to see that. That was incredible. Another one that one of our fellow Hellzone peeps told us about is Monster Island on Shudder right now. And absolutely incredible. Love it as well because it is a very rooted story in history. So it kind of talks about the period in World War II where Japan was shipping people back over to Japan to work as a labor force, and those ships were getting hit. The story follows one of the ships getting hit and two people being changed together, a Japanese man and an American man. And they kind of have to fight together against this monster that's almost a creature of the lagoon-esque kind of one. But it's like Creature of the Black Lagoon on steroids. This thing rips people apart. And there's just a lot of really good stuff in this movie. And it's kind of just come out of nowhere. So, but there's just a lot that I've noticed that has come on Shudder in the last couple of weeks that I don't think has gotten as much attention. So I would just highly encourage going back and looking at some of the releases that came out this past summer. There were a lot. I get it. We have Final Destination. We had Sinners. We had a lot of things that were kind of coming to the forefront. But I would definitely suggest if you have a free weekend, going through and watching a lot of those. They're great. They're worth the watch. In regards to Jennifer Tilly, I'm going to need Andy and give Jennifer Tilly a diamond or whatever they do on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and have her be a friend of, because that's the closest we're going to get to having like a Housewives of Horror. And her on Housewives, I will tell you, is absolutely unhinged. Anything you think of Jennifer Tilly, she is exactly that person, like just organically, and you have to love it. Like Tiffany's living her best life at Jennifer Tilly's house with like custom outfits, just out about and around, and like she's got Dior and different things for. I mean, she's just a hoot. So please, let's pump up the Jennifer Tilly in our media right now, because we need her even more than now. So, but those are my things this week in horror. Elizabeth, is there anything that you would like to talk about or anything that you would like to plug at this point in time?
Yeah, I am also really looking forward to seeing Weapons. It looks really, really good. And I'm watching all the Final Destinations to lead up to the last one. So I'm only on the third one right now, I think. But I wanted to watch before I saw them.
And you haven't seen the new one?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh, Kylie and I actually were on vacation together at the beginning of the summer, and we watched it together. It specifically came out around the time that we were together. So we saved it for like the last night we were together. And I will tell you, it might make you cry.
Really?
Yeah. It just because Tony Todd's part that's in there, there were a lot of people that leaked it, but he like organically said a lot of the things that he does in the film, and it just makes you, it just makes you cry. But it's very much like what you said about Lineage. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same way with that. It's very like heartwarmingly, but violent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's very much that. So you'll definitely have to let us know once you get to it and you watch it, what you think of it. Because we loved it. And I think they did a good job kind of wrapping everything together. But I mean, I think a lot of people thought it was great though, because it was like, it's like the number one movie for the longest point in time. But but I think it's great. So I would be very interested to see what you would think of that. And that is actually currently on HBO Max.
It is, yes. And as are all the other Final Destination movies. So that's why we're going through them before I watch it. So now I'm really excited to see it now. I'm glad that you told me that.
Yes. Oh, what's your favorite Final Destination movie before, like in all of these, if you have a favorite one?
My favorite one. I think the second one might be my favorite just because it has JJ from Criminal Minds and I love her.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the second one's a hard one to fight up against though anyways, because like that's the one that like traumatized a lot of us. Like
it has some really big death scenes that really have stuck like in the zeitgeist that people are still, the logging truck and all that.
Yeah, so much so that during the promo of this, I don't know if you knew this, YouTube it's hilarious, but they were actually sending trucks that they made to look like the log truck to like promote Final Destination Bloodlines. They had them on the road with people like during different places. They had it like looked like the log truck and everything, and it was like, and then it would have like Final Destination on the background. And
oh, cool.
I'm just lucky I didn't pass one of those, because I probably would have I would have had to get off the highway.
Yeah,
I really would have.
I see them log trucks all the time where I live, and I always get in the other lane.
Every time. Yeah,
it's the unadulterated fear. Kylie, what about you? Favorite Final Destination franchise entry?
I would definitely say the second one. I think that one had the most just impact on me. I mean, of course, I love the first one because it's the first. Without the first, we wouldn't have the other ones. But I would say the second one, besides the new one, even though I think the new one I think is probably the best in the whole franchise, to be honest.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say for me, top 2 is probably 2 and the new one.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
I would say that that's very, very high. So, but yeah, definitely let us know because we'd be very interested to see your take because I think you're talking about the same thing with Lineage that then Final Destination has the same vibe.
Yeah.
So please go out and watch Hell House Lineage. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. And please go follow Elizabeth on every social media platform. We'll go ahead and put all of her tags down below and where you can find her. And until next time, it's me, Cass, and
Kylee.
And we are the Horrorcraft Podcast, and we're saying bye and stay spooky.